Good morning, taxpayers of Uganda, wherever it is that you are watching from. My name is Solomon Kimbugwe, and I'm your host of the Land Tax Uganda podcast. This is episode 7, and we are going to appreciate a word that is usually thrown around a lot. Today, we are going to understand it and decode it and put it to the test. Now, the word is SMEs. You know, it's one of those words that is thrown around a lot to imply businesses that are small in stature. But you must know right here, right now, that for tax purposes, there is a qualifier for small businesses. I'm not talking about SMEs in this context. I'm talking about a business that is small. What is a small business for tax purposes? In studio to help us appreciate that is Mr. Michael Masembe, who is the manager, tax education outreach, or should we say the man who's responsible for the gospel of tax in Uganda Revenue Authority. Good morning, Michael.
Morning, Solomon.
It's a pleasure to have you on the show again.
Thank you for hosting me.
And we are looking forward to having more and more of you on this particular set.
I also can't wait for more of these. It's a good opportunity to engage, talk about some of these seeming complexities in the tax law that actually ought to be clear to our people. And I think it's the job.
It is
the job that we have to do. And also get feedback. I mean, I love this because it's an opportunity where we get the guys who interact with our material to give us feedback on where we need to make improvements, the regime itself, and for the big crop of our small business operators out there, this is the moment where we get to understand the dynamics of where we operate and the tax, related tax issues there, right?
100%. This is where we get to appreciate whether this is working and that is not.
Yes.
And in the context of this, you've called it one of the simpler tax regimes in the country.
Yes.
The one that is specific for small businesses.
Yes.
Before we get into the taxation of the small businesses, we need to first understand what they are. What is a small business?
Sure. Now, the tax regime looks at your business as small if one, it's below 150 million in total sales in a year. Okay? Total sales in a year, my sales are below 150 million. I am a small business operator. Just around 3 exceptions that while you may be small, you ought not to be a professional. Like, even if you're a lawyer, a doctor, a surveyor, or accountant, or a person of a professional trade, you cannot be a small business. That means even if your sales are between 0 to 150 million, you cannot be a small business. We cannot define you for tax purposes as a small business. Public entertainers, talk about musicians, people who do drama, comedians, all those, you cannot be a small business operator. Providers of public utility services may not be or are not categorized.
Give me an example of a public utility service.
Like water, we have seen scenarios of people who find a locality that may not have public water, and then they run an operation of piping water to certain locations and maybe electricity generation. Some people generate and they have a small generation operation and they distribute and sell. You cannot be a small business operator. So you cannot be what we call presumptive taxpayer for URA purposes. But outside that, anyone dealing in any form of business, and we say resident taxpayer, any form of business, and this actually means either an individual or a company, because the tax law says a person. So it could be a company, and it's an individual operating as a small business. You could be running a restaurant, you could be running a shop, wholesale retail shop, or shop, let's just leave it at that. You could be running what? A saloon, you could be running
a garage,
you could be running anything, carpentry workshop, anything of that nature. You are, and you can qualify to treat your tax matters as a small business taxpayer. And that way is where we say the regime was simplified, because the intention of the legislators was we understand the circumstances in which some of these operators are, and we may not want to complicate their life with very, very elaborate tax processes if we actually intentionally want them to be tax compliant. Yes.
So a simpler way was devised
Yes.
to accommodate people who are growing
Yes.
in the business.
Yes. Yes.
To acclimatize a bit.
Yes. And very many times I have engaged with the public, and this voice keeps coming. Someone telling you, Michael, just tell me how much I have to pay. And if I pay that, my issues with the taxman are done. I walk through the entire year without any other worries. And that was the spirit of introducing this regime. For that, something, the word was acclimatized. I mean, something I'm used to. I mean, something that I don't struggle.
Something that is preliminary, like you're getting used to something.
Yes. So
if it is a football tournament, this is group stages.
Exactly. So that is where that was the basis of the design of this regime. We have many people dealing. Look at downtown. We have the suburban areas. You look, and it is not innate for them not to want to pay tax, but possibly the process of meeting those obligations are in themselves prohibited. They are complex. You're telling someone to visit the URL website. You're telling someone, and maybe they don't have even the data bundles to do that. So you're pushing someone into a business cost that they may not be even able to meet. And so you need to devise and provide a window for them as small business operators across which they will meet the obligations that you hope or you expect them to meet.
100%. Now you've made it very clear what a small business is.
Yes.
For the context of tax purposes in Uganda.
Yes.
And you've said that it's about the turnover.
Turnover.
If the turnover is 150 million and below, you are considered a small business for Ugandan tax purposes.
Yes.
Now that we've established what a small business is, let's move into the next phase of the question.
Yes.
And the question is, how then is a small business taxed in Uganda?
Now, still, it goes back to the other feedback I told you that the request to your and Ministry of Finance has been, tell us how much I have to pay.
Okay.
And so bands were created. And this is how they go. From zero, if you make sales of 0 to 10 million, no tax to pay.
The tax is zero?
Zero. Just declare I just declare that I made sales of 10 million, of 7 million, and your tax is
zero shillings.
Okay. And that is where we are talking about someone who doesn't keep records. In either way, in all cases, 0 to 10 million sales a year, no tax.
There's no tax expected.
It's what we call meal, actually, on this side of tax administration. Then when you go to 10 million to 30 million in a year,
I've started to grow.
Yes. It's actually what we call a progressive tax system, that the more you earn or the more you make, the more tax you pay. 10 million to 30 million, you pay tax of 80,000 a year. 30 million.
Emitwalo munana.
Mitwalo munana. Business ya wakati wa milioni 10 ku milioni 3. Okay. 80,000 in a year. Between 30 million to 50 million turnover in a year, you only pay 200,000 as tax. 50 million to 80 million, you only pay 400,000 in a year. And then above 80 million up to 150 million, you pay 900,000 as tax.
I'm becoming a bigger boy.
Exactly. And that is the last band that we can talk about. So 0 to 10 million in a year,
zero,
no tax. 10 million to 30 million a year, 80,000. 30 million to 50 million in a year,
200K.
200,000. 50 million to 80 million in a year, 400,000. Above that, 80 million to 150 million, 900,000. So that is where, at least for the sake of this podcast, just walk out of this session knowing I move.
You establish how you're oscillating.
Yes, I'm oscillating in between 30 to 50 million. Okay, my tax due will be 200,000. Okay, so that is what we are looking at. And the moment you ascertain that, even right now, the moment you ascertain where you fall, maybe let's say 50 million to 80 million, you just pick out your phone.
And you get to the payment. Before we get to the payment,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
You had made mention of the fact that it gets even cheaper
Yes.
for someone who's keeping books.
Exactly.
How does that play out?
So let's look at a scenario of someone. I mean, the first band of 0 to 10 million, there is no tax to pay. Okay, no tax to pay. Now the second band, and the idea is
10 to 30.
10 to 30. Okay, 10 to 30 million. Remember, we say you have to pay, if you don't keep records, 80,000.
And if I keep my records, I have my books.
0.4% of the amount in between there.
Okay.
The tax due there can be even less than 20,000. Okay? Remember, the guy who is paying 80,000 has chosen not to keep records, but if you deliberately...
Say I've kept my records and my sales are exactly 11 million.
Yes.
So I qualify.
Yes. So 11 million.
I get 0.4 and I multiply it by 11.
0.4% multiplied by 11. Okay?
What I arrive at is what
is the tax that you have to pay. Okay? That amount is so very, very fair if we should look at it. Compared to someone who didn't go the long mile of keeping records, who has to pay the 80,000. Okay, so that is what we are looking at. Then in the second band, we have someone in between 30 to 50 million, who ideally here is going to pay
200,000.
Yeah, who would have
without
to pay.
records.
Exactly. But now here they have to pay only 0.5% of the amount plus some 80,000. Okay, and you move on like that. Still, I'll tell you, that amount due at the end of the computation will be less than the 200,000 that you would ideally have to pay if you don't keep records. So it goes on 0.6%, 0.7% into the other bands. And still, the encouragement in the lower payment, if you keep records, is to allow and get our people into the habit of bookkeeping.
It's training, basically.
Exactly. So that is where we look at it, and that is the message, and that is summarily the regime for small business operators, who we tend to call presumptive taxpayers.
Michael.
Yes.
I've understood what a small business is.
Yes.
I've understood the bands.
Yes.
I've understood how the taxes are arrived at.
Yes.
I would like to understand how I can then go ahead to make a payment or file a return if necessary.
Get your phone.
Okay.
The moment you get your phone, no internet needed, even a Kapesa, our small phone, Kabiriti phone can do this. Star 285 hash. So kamonyenye 285 kadala. Star 285 hash. It takes you to a URL dialog prompt where you can choose through an array of our services. But now we're interested in small business.
Yes.
So you say, I'm going to pay tax. Okay, you choose pay tax, and then it will prompt you which one. And you say small business. Okay, you choose small business. The way we interact with our mobile money platforms. And then, okay, you choose presumptive or small business. After you've chosen that, they will prompt you for your TIN, the tax identification.
I put in the TIN.
You put in the TIN. And then it will prompt you for how much did you make as turnover?
I select, say, 40 million.
40 million. Now, 40 million, you are in the band of 30 to 50 million. And we say the tax in between there is 200,000. So it will even prompt you whether you have records or not, or when you are on the URA web portal. But here, when you put in your 40 million, it will bring you the amount that you have to pay of 200,000. Okay, you log that in, and it will prompt you to approve a payment on your mobile money platform provider. You approve the payment, you'll get a URA notice and the mobile money notice that the amount has been debited off your account for tax purposes. That is proof enough that you've met your obligations.
And that is it.
Yeah, goes back to the question you raised. how do I meet my returns and payment obligations? By you going through the process I've just run us through in the past 1 minute.
On microphone.
You filed your tax returns and you have paid your tax. And you can run around the country doing business as a small business operator, and no taxman will stop you or ask you a question. If a question is raised, flash your payment proof as your return and as your payment, and therefore fulfillment of your tax obligations to the Uganda Revenue Authority. That regime is simply that, and it has been the design primarily to attend to the circumstances where our people do business on the run. They don't have the time to go into an elaborate process of balance sheet, ledger, trial balance, income statement, depreciation schedules. You get it, all that is too much complexity for business operator who are calling small, and they don't have any problem with their country. They want to pay the tax, but maybe an elaborate tax process is inhibiting their goodwill on tax obligations, and so this regime that you can fulfill.
100%, it is simpler to arrive at, simpler to compute, simpler to pay. We are coming to the back end of the calendar year.
Yes.
The midpoint of the financial year.
Yes.
Is there a specific message that you have for someone who's operating a business and it falls within the small business?
Very, very, very much. Now, right now, most of our small business operators have not yet come through on the payment for the financial year 2025-2026. And we invite them to just go to their phone or visit any URL office or visit the URL website and register your payment for presumptive tax. If you're doing this on your phone, *285#. And then the prompts will guide you on where to find taxes for small business, among other things. But at the same time, during this period, we have a tax waiver that government has accorded to the business opportunity, where if there is been any unpaid tax principal by 30th June 2024, you pay that principal tax, clear it, and all the penalty and interest that could have accumulated on it will be waived. Even if you pay half the tax, half the penalty and interest will be waived. Any form of domestic
Half
tax.
for half, full for full.
Exactly.
Quarter for quarter.
Exactly. So it's a proportionate waiver. If you settle the full principal tax, then the full penalty and interest will be sorted, and we get into the new year without the baggage of the old tax liabilities going on with us. And I think it is the benefit that government is according to majority of our small business operators. We very well know this very year, government introduced a 3-year exemption for business operators who are with a capital of around 500 million.
These are big boys?
Yes.
Small but big.
You can say, but if your capital is 500 million and below, and you have been, or you are able to declare your operation through tax returns and you're compliant with tax matters, there is an arrangement where government is going to roll out that waiver or that exemption from income tax for 3 years going forward for all new businesses. So as small businesses, the regime, as we've explained, has been simplified for you. The payment process and administration by URA has equally been simplified. And then there is that we are talking about, that if you can show.
On top of the incubation, government is saying,
I can give you
new
3 years.
businesses, newly registered businesses,
Yes.
incorporated in this financial year.
Yes. I can give you 3 years forward if you just declare clean what your operations are running like.
Michael, it's been an honor hosting you on this
Thank
podcast. I'm looking forward to a lot more of the same.
Amen. Amen to that.
Blessings to you, the listeners. Thank you for making the time.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.